Okay, welcome to this first afternoon entrepreneur track session. My name is Ben Picard. I'm the manager of the Microsoft Innovation Centers now. It used to be the one in Mons only. For the one who do not know what the MIC are, this is who I am. So feel free to connect, of course, on Twitter. What are the MICs? They are currently, let's say, 2.5 MICs. One in Wallonie, one in Brussels, and in the near future, one new with 2 locations in Flanders. You hear correctly? Yes, yes. Okay, fine. And the MIC are actually a joint project between Microsoft, some private partners like HP, VU, Mobistar was a partner with us, and the region, so the Brussels region and the Walloon region. What do? We try to sustain the local IT economy, which is a big word to say, helping creating jobs in the IT sectors. We do quite many things, let's say, but one of these things is we organize entrepreneur bootcamp. So we do training, we let young entrepreneurs coming with ID, and we try to help them during a few months. And it's a program that is shifting every run. We have run 5 bootcamp in total, with Brussels, 4 in Wallonie and 1 in Brussels, which is something like more than 100 startups have been working with us during these last 2 years. And we have tried to make some kind of learning about these bootcamps. So what I'm going to first to show you, for the one who don't know what the bootcamp is to show you maybe a small video as an introduction on the bootcamp. Is it starting? Not yet? Yeah? No.
Sur la vidéo là.
Sur la vidéo là? Mais là je suis dans le preview mode. Ok. Ah, bad luck. Tout technologie for me. Toi tu dis que si on clique là ça part. Oui. Allez, Joe.
Le Boostcamp, c'est quoi? C'est une initiative de Microsoft Innovation Center et de la Maison de l'entreprise qui embarque une quinzaine de startups. Qu'est-ce que nous proposons à ces startups? Nous leur proposons essentiellement 3 choses. Une première chose est de les aider à maturer d'un point de vue technique et d'un point de vue stratégique et business leur projet. Une deuxième chose est de les accompagner dans la rédaction de leur business plan et de les inviter à présenter à des investisseurs potentiels. Troisièmement, nous les aidons à démarrer concrètement leur activité dans des bureaux et dans une logistique que nous mettons à leur disposition.
On s'était posé la question, est-ce que ce sera un doublon de venir au MIC? À la fin du premier jour, je ne me suis plus posé la question.
Le Boostcamp me permet de rencontrer des personnes qui à la fois sont des professionnels de l'encadrement, des entrepreneurs et d'autre part des vétérans de l'industrie.
J'ai même été étonné en étant au Boostcamp qu'il y avait une telle activité et de moyens financiers mis à disposition pour les jeunes entrepreneurs. C'est pour cette raison principale que je me suis inscrit au Boostcamp, pour avoir une aide et un suivi de professionnels et d'un réseau de contacts qui peut m'orienter vers les bonnes personnes.
J'ai rencontré les autres personnes qui y participent. J'ai pu voir qu'on avait des professionnels à disposition qu'on n'aurait pas facilement dans un autre cadre.
Ils ont vraiment une attitude qui est active dans le sens où ils essayent vraiment de trouver les bonnes personnes pour conseiller chaque entrepreneur de façon individuelle, etc.
C'est ça qui fait l'intérêt justement du MIC, c'est d'avoir tout concentré dans un temps record. Et c'est ce qui va faire, c'est ce stress qui va faire qu'on va sortir quelque chose.
Le Boostcamp se focalise vraiment sur les vrais problèmes des jeunes entrepreneurs, justement, les fameuses questions qu'on se pose et pour lesquelles on n'a pas de réponse.
Je compte beaucoup aussi sur le Boostcamp pour donner des orientations sur la viabilité pour l'instant du projet et ses aspects légaux pour détecter éventuellement les problèmes qui pourraient survenir dans le démarrage du projet.
Well, one of the significant issues facing software companies today is what is their business model going to be going out into the marketplace. In the past, people either had shrink-wrapped software, of which Microsoft was one of the key suppliers, where people bought software in a box. Today, there are millions of ways of selling your software, and how you sell your software and how you parcel up what you sell and to whom has become a very important issue in business models. So that has now become a key challenge that every software house has to deal with, and where we want companies at the bootcamp to understand the implications of the software choice they make.
En tant qu'entrepreneur moi-même, forcément, je peux m'identifier partiellement à leur démarche, et ça fait toujours plaisir. Les années d'expérience acquises, pour moi, peuvent faire l'objet d'une restitution de valeur pour quelqu'un d'autre.
Chacun des projets que j'ai vus est très très différent l'un de l'autre, mais il y a toujours cette dimension d'enthousiasme. Je crois qu'à chacun, j'ai dit qu'il fallait absolument préserver cet enthousiasme.
Je me suis particulièrement attachée à regarder si la combinaison du produit avec le marché qu'ils essayaient de joindre était d'abord réaliste, et dans quel délai et avec quels moyens ils allaient l'opérationnaliser.
Toute une série de conseils, parfois de rencontres avec de personnes à les rencontrer, de choses à structurer, mais certainement garder cette dimension d'enthousiasme intacte.
C'est une façon de transmettre son expérience sous son éclairage, au travers du prisme de mon expérience bien sûr personnelle, avec tout le côté à la fois réaliste mais extrêmement subjectif que je peux apporter.
Très égoïstement et même indépendamment du bénéfice que ça peut avoir pour les entrepreneurs, il y a pour moi un vrai bénéfice direct de prendre du recul.
Pour nous, le Boostcamp a réellement été, comme son nom l'indique, un booster pour le développement de la société.
Le Boostcamp m'a permis de relativiser les premières idées, m'a permis de relativiser les premières directions qui avaient été données. Et donc je suis très content de ce résultat, très content du contact avec les experts et de l'enseignement du Boostcamp.
On a appris à affiner notre projet, à découvrir d'autres cibles potentielles, des niches vers lesquelles diriger notre développement, le développement de notre idée.
Ce qui m'a vraiment marqué, moi, au niveau commercial, c'est que l'expert nous a permis de comprendre que la vente n'était pas une histoire de feeling. Le tout, c'est d'avoir une méthodologie, de pouvoir travailler cette méthodologie. Et ensuite, ça nous a permis de comprendre que tout le monde était capable, dans un deuxième temps, d'aborder n'importe quelle cible.
J'ai pu discuter des choix technologiques qui ont été faits pour la plateforme de jeu. Et d'autre part, des experts plutôt dans le domaine du marketing, de la communication et du développement commercial.
L'ensemble des outils qu'ils nous ont proposés nous permet aujourd'hui d'avoir un œil neuf sur ce qu'on veut développer et de mieux se lancer dans le projet, de ne pas partir avec des outils qu'on pensait essentiels et qui au final ne le sont pas.
Ça nous a également permis de mettre en œuvre des priorités différentes de ce que nous avions identifié juste avant le Boostcamp.
L'alimentation purement intellectuelle, de se dire qu'il y a toujours moyen d'inventer quelque chose et d'avoir une idée qui finalement après peut devenir un emploi ou un job. Et ça c'est personnellement, c'est quelque chose qui me fascine.
Voilà, sorry for the French version. It will exist soon in English and Dutch with the coming Boostcamp, of course, in Brussels and in Flemish. Now, the challenge is what do we learn out of it? Huh? And if you're a developer and you dream to create your own startup, your own company, what can I share with you in 1 hour about, let's say, some insights, some learning from this Boostcamp and this 100 startup we have met? First of all, the main idea is there is not one skills, one thing that make the difference for young entrepreneur. Young entrepreneurs are successful as the worst of their skills. Huh? And all the people coaching, helping startup will tell you there are many skills needed, huh? But there are at least 6 that are fundamental. The first one is your business model. Huh? Your marketing, your sales, your finance, some aspect of the technology, and are you able to pitch your story? Okay? I'm going to go through most of them, except finance that I will leave to experts and coach and people we work with. And I will just do a small introduction in before starting. Okay? In the before starting thing, what we observe, and I will not make a paternalist talk of half an hour on that, just keep in mind a few ideas. Too many people don't use tools. Huh? Tools are, I'm sorry, there is a little bit of French in some of the slides. Huh? I will go in English for everything. But there are many tools. And it's important to be equipped with tools when you're an entrepreneur. Otherwise, you will waste your time in not being properly connected. Stuff like the Grainer model, understanding that a startup is not a linear grow, but a step-by-step grow, is a fundamental, because we will see many of the strategies and the tactic you will put in place have to do by passing through the change, the paradigm shift, the movement. How can you go from an idea to a running business from day one? I will explain an example of that. Okay? There are many concepts like this. Something too many people don't understand are elementary stuff as what-if analysis. I will not explain that, but you make a lot of assumption in your business. And we see many business 2 years later that are still where they were 2 years before. And actually, very often people make some assumption and they build a full story on wrong assumption. It's very important to test your assumption and mainly to understand where is your business in danger. The idea is not how am I going to do my return on investment, but if I define a path to my return on investment, what are the traps that I'm going to fail? Tools like what-if analysis. Many people do business plan, for instance, with beautiful Excel sheet, blah, 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 and they will do a loss of 100 for years, 200 last year, and then year 3, we are just break an even point, year 4, 500,000, and year 5, we have 5 million euro benefits, it's wonderful business, blah, blah, blah. It's the typical curve of any business plan of a startup. And actually, what you see, there are a few things, a few of the assumptions. If you change them a little bit, suddenly you go from 5 million to 50K. And the thing to do is not to wonder, is it 5 million or 50K? The thing to do is to wonder, what is this little thing that I have changed that could completely turn my business? And then on your radar of things you need to control as an entrepreneur is look at these things that let you go from 50K to 500 or the contrary. Okay? Keep in mind, and I stop with the tool stuff, keep in mind that tools may be old-fashioned. I used to be a fan of Michael Porter 20 years ago. Okay? And now, but it has been invented in a time where internet was not available, where the value of people, my generation, I turned 45 this year, our dream was to be in Wall Street and to be millionaire, okay? You don't find many young people today who want to invest. There are some who play, but it's not the dream of every guy in a business school. The dream now has different values. People want money, but they want also socialize and they want sustainable. My generation, we couldn't care less, and it's not cynic, about sustainable 20 years ago. We didn't even know what it was, and we couldn't care less about our colleague at that time. Okay, so value are changing, model are fashioned by their time. Keep in mind, as an entrepreneur, about the way you manage your time. I am always frustrated, but also somewhere proud of me, when I say to someone, I'm sorry, I will not meet you. It's both frustrating and a big progress. I will not meet you because this meeting, you have no agenda, I don't know why I go and see you, and I have many other things to do. So, learn to say no, otherwise you will spend your time with many people that don't move your business. It doesn't mean you have to be rude. You can do once a month a drink with all the friends. You invite all the people you do not want to spend 2 hours with, and you do my Thursday drink, and then you're sure you keep in contact with many people. But as an entrepreneur, you have 200 days, maybe 300 days a year of active work, and unfortunately maybe 15 hours a day, which is not a lot, okay? So keep in mind that you have to manage your time. Many tools, and I always say when I go to younger people in university and stuff like that, kill your TV, go to cinema, which is an example, do smart stuff, don't waste your time, and build your own tools. This is the intro. Now, if we talk about business model, and we'll have a next session full of business models, so I won't talk a lot about that. I will not talk about it. I will just give a few insights. First of mine, keep in mind the difference between inventing and innovate, okay? Invention is the laboratory stuff. Innovation is how you make money with an invention. And in business model, there is a business side. I see many good startups where you ask, but okay, it's very, very nice, but where do you earn money? I don't know yet. Guy, you are 4, you've been working for 1.5 years, and you don't know yet where you're going to earn money. You waste your time. It will not work, okay? So this is very, very fundamental. Roald will probably talk about that. If you forgot, don't forget to read this book or to go on that website, okay? By respect for you, I don't speak about that, okay? Now, just a few thoughts to, not to introduce, but to illustrate the idea of what are the business model of companies like Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, etc. I'm not going to do a comparison of this business model. I'm not telling you should do this or you should do that. I just say, as an entrepreneur, look at what some successful people have done and wonder, can I take this idea and apply it to my company, my idea, okay? Just 4 small insights. What is the business model of a company like Microsoft? You say, oh, they sell a lot of things, blah, blah, blah. Think deeper. I think 35% of all the people you see in these tech days are partners. The business model of Microsoft, if we were in building construction, we would be providing the brick. And local people would make houses adapted to the style of Spain castle and Belgium fermet. And these are the local people who speak with the local customer about their local dream, if you want, but they all use the Microsoft brick. We are in software. The idea of Microsoft was to have everyone building house with Microsoft bricks. But we were not able to sell directly to all the customer because the core business of Microsoft is to build bricks, software bricks, okay? The brilliant idea of Microsoft and why Microsoft has been such a successful company for many years, there are 2, 3 insights, but one of them is clearly to use an indirect model. 4,800 partners in Belgium, 750,000 in the world. Now, wonder yourself, I create my company. Do I sell myself or do I sell via reseller who bring an extra stuff on top and sell themselves? First takeaway that you can bring with you. Apple. There are many good ideas in Apple. But where is the success? Well, it's already an old one. From the iPhone coming from. Imagine you want to create a device with 1 million or 1 billion application on it. How do you do that? Do you hire, like I do in the MIC, 27 stagiaires, and they start to build 200 applications in 4 months? Well, it's cheap. I mean, you hire one super top coach, and he can manage the 25 guy. Now, and you get 200 applications after 4 months. Well, it helps David, it's a good way, okay? But if you need 2 million applications, you have to have, 27,000 stagiaires. It's a little bit more aggressive. With 27, it's already hard. Now, there is another way. You create a marketplace, okay? And you tell to people, put your stuff on it, prepay all the financing yourself. If you're right, great. If you're wrong, your problem, okay? I take some money on the sale you will do. You prepay everything, and I pay you back later. It's a wonderful idea, okay? And basically, Apple cares for the distribution, and you care for the financing of the success of their platform. Alors, it's brilliant. You can invent such a kind of thing for yourself. If you think to create a marketplace of your own project, probably you can have a lot of people who can work with you and help you. Do you know Salesforce.com? It's a customer relationship management system based on the web. one brilliant thing by Salesforce.com, and I don't speak about the product. I speak, product is maybe good, maybe not, as Microsoft, I cannot say, so look yourself. Huh? But one thing brilliant in this company, this is the way they sell. If you are a single sales guy in a company, you can download it yourself for free. Okay? If you are a small company with 10 sales guys, you register on the web, a guy from a call center call you during 15 minutes. Cost of sales, this kind of guy costs 300 euro a day. So you divide by 8, you divide by 4. For 25 euro cost of sales, you have someone speaking to you. Okay? And if you're a big company, the account manager come to you and invite you in a restaurant, etc. And of course, you buy the product for maybe 200K. This is the same tool which is sold with what we call a provisioning platform. And the same tool is sold through channels which are aligned to the cost of sales of the customer. Exactly what banks in the year 2000 don't have understood. What was the dream of the banks with the multi-channel trend in the bank? That was, the rich people will keep their account manager, and the poor people will have to use internet to do everything themselves. And who is using internet? The rich people who also want to have an account manager, of course. And so they understood that the bank has to speak with everyone through multiple channels. They just confused the cost of the channel with who is using what. But that's a detail. And what has been the success of Facebook, and that's also, there are many, many reasons, blah, blah, blah. One of the beautiful things, if you think to what Facebook is fundamentally, I can take 10 people here and we redo the basic foundation of Facebook in a weekend, okay? And if I take that row, maybe in 3 days, okay? But the beauty, a simple profile, a list of friends, posting a message, posting a photo, posting a video, it's not that technology fantastic, okay? But why do many people have kept on using Facebook, okay? There are two things to learn to get out of that. Because they have created an API. And through this API, many people have created applications that leverage the network. And at the beginning, they were stupid applications. You remember the farm? But ask Sébastien de Halle how stupid was this idea. It was a good thing. And now, and that's lesson 1. So make an API to share the value of your application. And lesson 2, there is a network effect. Once a community is used big enough with enough people, it becomes the only place to go. If I have to do something social today, I would naturally first start by creating an application for Facebook that leverage the network to make the social thing. So if you create something, think about making it social as well, okay? So that's, I would say, a small introduction on business model. But we see that the way you think, of course, your business is largely influenced by the way you go to the market. Now, in the IT industry, if you want to speak about marketing, we also need to change the perspective. That's one of the things we understood during this bootcamp. And one key thing we don't think too much about, IT is a different animals. 50%, and I repeat it in every presentation, so sorry for the one who know me, 50% of IT of today did not exist 3 years ago. This is extremely important. The corollary of that, you have a great idea now. You take 6 months to create your business plan. 50 guys in the world have created a company with the same idea. You still wait 6 extra months. 500 people have built a company with the idea. You're still thinking, how am I going to finance it? Okay? I will show you a map a little bit later. At which speed should you go if you want to be realistic in IT? Okay? If you're not able to draw your business plan or your fundamental of your business plan in 1 month, you're out of business. In 6 months, you need to have a proof of concept in the new way of doing things, in a lean way, with a customer or at least a prospect who say, I love this product, it changed my life, and I'm ready to pay a little bit something on it. And based on that, you need to raise funds or whatever way to have a real accelerator to be maximum 12 years later seriously in business. I speak here pure IT. If you are ET is enabling technology, so you are maybe in the pharmaceutical industry, but you change the pharmaceutical industry through an IT paradigm, of course you may pace at a different speed. Nevertheless, technology speed up all the business anyway, okay? I check the time. Do you know, it's already an old story, but it's a beautiful one. Who knows Siebel? Yeah, some people. Who knows Tom Siebel? No, he was the founder of. This is an incredible story. And at that time, I worked for Siebel, 99, something like this, a little bit too late. My colleague 1 year before have been rich enough for not working anymore. Okay. Nevertheless, there was a lot of things to learn out of that company. And he's starting a new one, and he has raised $30 million just first round, okay? What is his secret? Tom Siebel's idea was the following one. I want to create the next generation of CRM tools, okay? It will take me years if I do it in a normal way. What I want to do, so for me, he was the first guy who was doing the lean startup. The startup that is starting from customer need and that is starting from the end, which is basically we sell before building, which is strange for I would say, more conservative or technologist people. The classic way is I first need to have a product working before showing it. He had not even a product when he made a board of people who were not only his board member, his shareholders, his first customer, his best friend, and he put the first board, and I don't remember the exact composition, but there was something like 5 customers who he said, okay, you will get within 1 year the product you dream, you will pay 50% of what you would have paid if you buy it as an existing product, but there are a few conditions. You will accept to have every month, 1 day a week, 1 day, a reference visit of some future customer in your thing. You will turn now a video. Laurent, what do you think about the new product that you will get within 6 months? It's fantastic. It changed already my life, blah, blah, blah. So they started by building the testimonial, by building the video in a kind of win-win situation where, without having written 1 line of code, the customer was already telling, I am with you. He put different partners. Immediately, he sought to have a direct and an indirect sales model. He put the bankers, not any bankers, Charles Schwartz. Charles was one of the guys who was the most successful at that time in rising IPO and getting this kind of company on the stock exchange. So before starting, this guy was already thinking and ready to be on the stock exchange. So the value of the company has been growing fantastically. He sold it for $5.85 billion in 7 years, which is quite some value creation, you know, and et cetera, et cetera. He had a marketing team. So it was a fully paid story before having a single line of anything, and he had enough money just to start from scratch. Alors, we are not able to do that probably in Belgium. We are not able to raise that kind of thing. Nevertheless, go and see people like Walter de Brouwers, for instance, with Xanadu, is doing at the, let's say, Belgium-US level, something similar. He has raised $2 million to start a new idea, split on 20 different investors who are partly his customer, partly. So they are Belgian guys who are doing the same kind of thing. And it's clear that once you have $2 million, you're not rich, but you have 6 months, 1 year time to have 20 people, well, maybe 15 smart people, to think together on the project and to make your project moving on instead of wasting your time to trying to find money. That's a brilliant, brilliant concept. What can we learn out of this? Alors, there are many lessons, and the slide will be available, but time to market is a lot more important than features. Going fast, go right for the cheese. Invest in the appropriate business model. I remember when Roald told me, there are two guys in Germany, they are specialists in doing German version of emerging something in the US. And I said, so what, Roald? No, Ben, listen more properly. They have sold already their German Facebook to Facebook. They have sold already their German Twitter to Twitter. And they have sold their, I don't know exactly, their Amazon to Amazon. And they're basically copycatting. Well, it's a business model. They understood there is a special needs in Germany to have a German-looking and a German-speaking version of everything, and they just go through these things. There is no shame in doing that. Find your niche, but be number one in that one. Align cost of revenue. Don't hesitate to put partners. I always say it is better to have 50% of 1 million than 100% of 100,000. It's better to share the value with people who can speed you up than being the number one of something you never succeed to. With that speed in IT, if you're not successful in 18 months, you probably will never be. Leo will show some example later, but that's a small introduction to marketing. Now, if you have a good idea, if you have a good story, what makes the difference between the one who succeeds and the one who don't? And I know it's also old-fashioned, but among the classic, I remain a big fan of Kenichi Omai, who used to be the managing director of McKinsey in Japan. And he said many, many great things, but among one, the ability to execute, run your plan. And I see Roald smiling because we worked together for 2 years, and if I didn't tell that once a week, probably I never tell it. Now, just an example. It's a generic example. It's imagine you have a business based off some kind of pay-per-use mode. Small amount, but pay-per-use mode, okay? SMS something, okay? You get 10 cents per SMS, okay? That's the business. You are 2 or 3 collaborators, okay? You need $500,000 a year. Alors, you don't need to have done Harvard and an MBA to understand if with 10 cents I need to cover $500,000 a year, how many SMS do I need to sell? Bon, 5 million. Where do I find 5 million SMS? Alors, you can create your platform, have a game, have a few people doing it. What's going on? Oh, okay, I've made a great story, maybe 100 SMS, 200 SMS. You need to have, and that's the point, a sales strategy based on some kind of sales pattern. Idea number one, there are many, find a big stuff. Find the big stuff. Like you have, alors, you know Get You? Get You was a small key sniffing RFID, okay? Get You was about, this is somewhere a similar case. Get You, they sold a small key for 15, 20 euro, okay? And the idea was to sniff RFID. And their first idea was, I'm going to sell a lot of key, and when people meet each other, they can click, for instance. Or we can put stickers everywhere in the city, and when we click on the stickers, we can then take information, go on a website, and see, for instance, additional information around the advertising that was on the sticker. Bon. If you want to do that kind of thing, you have to think big. For instance, Get You is now the partner of Salon de l'Auto, Auto Salon. Aha! Auto Salon, 500,000 visitors, okay? Alors, the idea, we don't give a key to everyone, we give a key to the car dealer. And people have a small entry card with their RFID. You come in front, you say, oh, Microsoft, I would like to know more. You click, you go home with your card, okay? You type your number, and you give your data, and then, of course, you can download everything. And so we save 3, and the people on the booth know you, and they can start. Not only I have distributed 300 formulaire or sheet, but I know who are the guy, and I can start to turn this suspect into prospect. Find a big something. If you're a get-you, find a salon de l'auto. And then, step 2, make it a repeatable business. With your salon de l'auto story, go to CeBIT, go to CES. The 21st location for event in the world represent 85% of all the events in the world. You find one, you sell all the other one. Socialize your tool. Socializing your tool, so let's take back the SMS game. Imagine the SMS game, you create an SMS game, but you have a platform. Maybe you can say to the people, bring friends to the same thing. Use Facebook to create things that where your customer become your ambassadors, okay? Use indirect and prescriptor. Maybe your SMS game is useful for you, but maybe someone else, you have maybe created a game to discover a restaurant in the city. Cool. Maybe someone in the car industry wants to do the same. Don't do it yourself. Find a specialist of the car industry who will love to use your tool and just let him use your platform. Find someone in the travel industry and let him use your thing. So create generic thing so that people may use it. Prescriptor. Web 2.0, you have created a game with a platform. Let users create their own game and invite their friends of it. You also can bring additional stuff, like additional services. I will come back on that. What I mean in selling is not spray and pray. Selling is different kind of pattern that you have to repeat and then concentrate on execution. With people with shark, they take it and they don't leave it, okay? I will leave now the floor for 15 minutes, we're fine, to my colleague who talks about finance, and I'll be back on the 2 last trends in a minute. Present yourself, don't want to say.
Is this working? Yes, it is. Welkom iedereen, bienvenue tout le monde. My name is Martin. This is Xavier Korman. We're going to talk a little bit about finance for you. So this is me, this is Xavier. About 1 month ago, we started with a meetup group called Finance for Startups. And within 3 weeks, we had 85 people interested in Brussels. Why? Because we started because Xavier and I think that it's a key issue with all you guys starting up a company, that the knowledge of finance isn't really up to the level it should be. So, if you look at your creativity level, you are all Microsoft developers, so be it SharePoint, mobile, Azure Cloud, whatever you want. You're all the way up there. I must say this is very nice on a cinema screen, because on a small screen it's not that good, but it's all the way up there. Talking about the finance and accounting level, you're down here towards the NER and the OVNI level. So, by the way, what we want to do is to raise your bar a little bit through 5 workshops we're going to organize in the coming months. These are the 5 workshops we're going to organize. We're going to start with a company setup. We're going to do a little discussion about accounting, financial plan, classic one, what-if scenarios, all the stuff, basic cash flow analyzing, funding your startup, talk to investors, and valuation and dilution. So we only have 10 minutes, so we're going to be very brief. So why should you create a company? The main issue is to limit your liabilities. If you're going to start up as a company, you're limited only in case everything goes wrong to the amount you put in there. If you do it by yourself and it goes wrong, your customer, your partner could go and try to get reimbursed by getting your house, your car, your private properties, which is not the best thing to do. Creating a company also gives you a professional touch. So people prefer talking to BVBA, SPRL, or things like that than to you as an individual. Fiscally, it's interesting. And finally, maybe not be the first thing that comes to your mind, but on succession level, it's also good. What are the negative aspects? Well, you see them listed. There are formalities. You have to go to the notary. You have to go to the bank. You have to have some minimum capital and stuff like that. You have to have an accountant because you have to have double entry accounting. And if you want to bring in stuff like your car or stuff like that, you have to have a bedrijfsrevisor or reviseur d'entreprise making an official valuation.
So let's go to basic of accounting. What you need when you have a company is to have an accountant, as Martin said, and after that you have to have regularly an accounting. The first part of an accounting is the P&L, profit and loss. In French is compte de résultat. So you have all the revenues of your company, and in front of that you have all the spendings of your company. So everything you need to buy to make the sales. So if you sell cars, you have to buy cars to sell cars. This is called cost of sales. Cost of goods sold also. You have the personal cost. This is something very important in Belgium because the personal cost is high. So especially in IT, this is a huge point that are in your books. After that, you have the general expenditures. It's everything you spend every month, like the rent, electricity, etc. The depreciation are the investment you make for your activity, and you have to depreciate in a period like 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So you have to take a small part of the value of the investment out of your accounts every year, and you have also the financial cost. This is something that we forget, but when you see at the end of the year, you can frequently see that a big part of your profit goes to the financial cost, means to the banks. So the way you finance your company is also very important. If you finance with credit, you will pay interest. If you finance with capital equity, you don't pay interest, but you're supposed to pay dividend to your investors. The investor can be yourself. And when you pay everything, the difference between the revenue and the cost are your profit. And this is the purpose of your company. So the P&L is very important to follow every month, every quarterly, because you have to see where you go with your company. After that, you have different ratio, and for the good balance of your company, you have to see if you lose money or if you win money. And the most important for a startup is the cash flow. Cash flow is the difference between the money coming in and the money coming out. And if your cash flow is negative, you have a cash drain, and after you have to finance it.
Now, talking a little bit about funding, we're a little bit in the 99%, 1% discussion here. Many people think, I have this great idea, I'm going to ask for funding because people are going to be interested in my idea. 99% of people asking for funding get rejected. I exaggerate a little bit, but you have to be knowledgeable that it's not easy to get funding, and especially if you're not prepared. So if you go to MIC, Microsoft Innovation Center, they're going to help you. If you go to some professional advice, it's going to help. On the right, you have the situation where you don't ask for funding, and on the left, you have the situation when you ask for funding. I'm not going into details, but look at the blocks. The idea is if you don't ask for funding, you'll be smaller, yes, but you'll be very focused on the stuff that on developing your idea. If you do ask for funding, you see all kinds of little blocks appear in between, which means that your focus is going to be diverted from developing your product, building your team, getting the marketing right, finding the sales channels, and so on, towards also, oh, I need to talk to my investor, I need to pitch, I need to present to my investor, I got phase 1, I got phase 2, and so on and so on. So just a quick note here that if you go and ask for funding, be very aware, like Jean-Claude Van Damme says, be very aware of the implication it has. Now, it has been discussed. If you want to finance your activity, there are different ways. One is equity, capital, long-term debts and short-term debts. If you look at equity, you've got the famous FFF, Family, Fools and Friends. You got the business angels, you got the venture capitalists, and coming up now you've got this crowdfunding aspect. If you go to equity, you lose control of your company. Point barre, punt aan de lijn. Why? Because you're going to have to give a little bit of your shares to somebody else. Then you can split it up and give shares which don't have any voting rights and stuff like that, but in most cases you lose control. If you go to the debts part of it, this is money that you get, but you have to pay back. So you've got official instances like participatiemaatschappij who offer you money, but they want it back within 5 years with a little interest. You can go to the bank. Yeah, good luck. You can go to the bank and ask for some money. And what also happens is that the shareholders provides the company with a loan, either on short term or on long term. Sorry. If you look upstairs, up there, you can also go to your client and to your suppliers, which means that you could try to fund your business by having partnerships with your clients and suppliers. It's not easy, it's not often done, but that's one way to go, upstreams or downstreams, where you say, well, dear customer or dear supplier, let's give me some money and then we go together and I'll pay you back this amount with a little gain I have from my activities.
Okay, let's come to the point valuation. How to value your startup, because a lot of you are dreaming about millions in the future. It's difficult to evaluate a startup because when you want a value, you don't have any profit yet, or you don't have a clear vision of the future. So normally, you will come with a high value to the investors, telling you, my idea was 1 million euro. And the investor, the first question is, okay, what's the money you put in until now in your startup? I don't know, 10,000 euro. Okay, so your idea was 10,000 euro. So the big problem is you want this amount, a huge amount at the beginning, and the investor is okay to evaluate your startup at what we call the sweat money, so the money you really put in your startup. So what you have to find is a way to catch up. So maybe you can agree to sell shares of your startup at the sweat money valuation, but you want to be sure to catch up the value when you make an exit. So normally, if you find investor in your startup, in a lot of cases, you will have less share at the beginning and much more shares at the end. At the end is the exit or the IPO or whatever. So when you sell the company. After a certain period that can be up to 5 years or even more. And be aware when you when you ask investor to come in your company, because there is a huge effect called dilution. So if you start with one investor at the beginning with 15% of the shares, so you give 15% of the shares of your company at your first investor. When you go to the second investor and you want to give him 20%, so you come from 85%, so you have a big majority. You come to 68%, but if a third investor comes and you give him 25%, your shares become 51% only. So it means if you give too much on the beginning, after, at the third investor, you don't have the majority anymore. At least the full majority. After that, you have different majority, but it's other option.
All right, so these are the things we're going to discuss during our workshops. As you see, these are the dates and the topics. We have this meetup group called Finance for Startups. Everything is there, so if you guys want to join, feel free. It's €90 to participate to this workshop. It's €50 if you are a member of We Startup. And We Startup, you can become member by registering on their website. But you can find all the information on the meetup group. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You bring it back? Hello, hello? Yes. Okay, so quite important concept. I have, let's say, a combination of sales, marketing, and finance small slide that I used to share in this context. It is just an example, and it's probably something I need to update a little bit to go more in a kind of web-based kind of thing. But if I were a startup, let's say, selling to B2B a €20,000 cost product, I'm building a device to record video, for instance. How can I? What should be my plan? What should be my ideal time frame in a world where 50% of reality did not exist 3 years ago? I always say in 4 weeks, you should be able to have an idea, to know what's my proposal value, what am I going to go, where is the money, where am I going to earn, okay? What is the business plan, and basically, what am I going to do myself and to let do by other people? This very basic step, some startup takes 6 months to come to just the point, what am I going to do, what do it myself, and where is the money? You take the time you take, but normally, this is really something fundamental. Why do I say that? Because we see many startups, after 1 year, 2 years, who come back to the fundamental and say, I was wrong in my business plan, I start again. Get You is now smoothly becoming a successful story, but they also took 18 months to invent the way they will do money with what they wanted to do. They always said, with our device we can do this and this and this and that. Fantastic guy. But what are you practically going to do? This and this and this and that. Yeah, okay. Then you waste your time. Once they have chosen one idea and they went right for the chase for that idea, suddenly it becomes a successful story. So it's very important to choose one strategy and take it. There is no need to spend a lot of time. Alors, 2 messages in this small plan. One is, this is about the time it should take. If you take more, it's your problem. And 2, this is what you absolutely need before going to the next step. If you don't know on which mountain you are going to climb, don't go to the Alps and say, what am I going to do now? It doesn't work this way, okay? You need to know where you go before starting in expedition. I always say step 2 is try to have a lean, a first customer, an early adopter who wants to do a proof of concept with 1 or 2 guys who are ready to pay for that. It's I call it 6 months. There are some ways. You can find, for instance, pre-seed funds. In Wallonie, you get quite easily €12,500 to finance, let's say, a proof of concept, not to finance the proof of concept, to finance the market study that goes with, okay? But if you do lean business, well, lean business is close to market study. Find already a partner model and build a technical proof of concept, because you will need that to go to the next run. The next run is you will need money to live for 1 year, okay? You will need to find 150, 200K. Don't source yourself. If after 6 months and the first customer, where basically the first 6 months you have no revenue, it's a time of investment, okay? After that, there is no reason for not making revenue. If you don't make revenue, this is because you try to go to the wrong priority. If you have a pre-running prototype, don't do a second running prototype or a third running prototype of a V2 of your project. Find a customer. If you are not able with your prototype to find one customer who is ready to pay, you're probably not on the right product. It's probably wrong. So after having a prototype, if you don't have a customer, you're probably not on the right thing. So I'd always say, try to find, let's say, you find your distribution channel, you start to imagine some ways of involving your community, and you have to find, let's say, a way to sell. Ideally, make $500,000 revenue out of it. Because with $500,000, you are at the first moment where you can sell your company. If at that time, your thing that you love is to be a programmer, this is a good time to sell. Because after that, you won't be a programmer anymore. Except if you have a good friend who wants to be your sales and you keep on being CTO. But normally, after that, it is already no more fun for a developer. So it's maybe a good idea to say, every 2 years, I develop a new thing that I sell $500,000. Well, cool. It's not bad paid, 250K a year. Well, I can do a career in that, okay? You're not rich, but you have fun, okay? After that, the world is changing. The next step is, and you can do that 2, 3, 4 years. I'm a bit arrogant, but when I say you need to do it in 24 months, but it's just the speed of what the most successful US company do. If we even do 2 times this, it's good. We cannot do 10 times that because the market will be there. I know a lot of good ideas we have seen in the first bootcamp of the MIC 2.5 years ago that exist now by US company. And some local guy had found great idea here. Some have been successful, but other people in the world have found the same idea and did it, which is ridiculous. The next run, the fourth block is, you need some extra money, of course, but because you start to sell, you will find this money easily. The only complex moment to be financed is here. If you do $500,000, there is a huge amount of venture capitalists, of companies who want to put money on company doing already business. There is no problem to find 10 million if you do 1 million. There is a big problem to find 200K if you do 0. This is why this step is fundamental. If you have already a customer who has put a little bit of money and who say, I love this guy, and I haven't put money, but I will make an article and make a video and speak everywhere and accept once a month to have a car of Japanese coming and taking picture of the thing I do with their product, well, probably your bankers, your investor, will see you are not like most of the startups who promise to do 5 million within 5 years, okay? So each step is the foundation for the next one. I believe after a while, you should sell. Because the next step is probably, if you have been there, not something you or me can do. It's a different business. This is the business of the guy who internationalizes your business. This is a guy like Gilles Ospier, we know. This kind of Belgian guy who is able to manage a European network of distributors. And he never sees, of course, he goes and sees real customer, but with the distributors, to teach the distributor how to work with their distributor. So it becomes the big machine, okay? Alors, the good thing, if you're really a developer, you sell here. If you're a little bit business developer, you sell here. And if you want to go for big money, you take a VP position in this stuff, and you try to have enough equity to leave at some time, and you negotiate already your exit strategy. Alors, this is a little bit theory, this is a little bit dream, but if you don't have such a plan and such a vision from day one, you will have to find it during your trajectory. Anyway, all the people we see that have been successful sometime have or such a vision from day one, or have invented this vision step by step. Yeah, why reinventing stuff that exists already? Now, technology. And we could talk about how technology enables business, how IT increase the productivity of the small business of this world, blah, blah, blah. And I want to share a little something on, let's say, the clouds, the software as a services opportunity. So, alors, my story is this one. Imagine you are writing software for dentists or whatever business. In my previous life, I distributed CD for dentists. They install the software, they run it on their PC. When there is a problem, hop, I have to go and I install again. And when there is an update, they never do the update, etc., etc. And I need to maintain, of course, as many versions as they were of version, and how many dentists are still running on Windows 95, okay? Which has been invented when internet did not exist, by the way. So you imagine what's the level of their PC. This is not that a stupid example. In the MIC, I decided to use the accountant of close to the MIC, because, of course, if your job is to create job in the region, you will not hire an accountant from Brussels to go in Mons and do the accounting. So I looked for an accountant in Mons. And a brave guy came and made a public call, and I found a great accountant, and he installed this software. A 32-bit software. I had to find somewhere 32-bit Windows, because I have not done that anymore. Because he used a library of Crystal Report. We speak. Oh yes, there is a D missing. The business guy is the OVNI guy, and the other one, that's the nerd guy, of course. But by the way, my nerd thing found back a 32-bit version, and we are working on it, blah, blah, blah. Nevertheless, on each upgrade, the guy is spending time with us to reinstall, blah, blah, blah. And I say, Augustiniak, are you crazy? Why don't you go clouds? And just because he does not understand clouds. So I have a full seminar on this clouds opportunity, but fundamentally, what I want to share with you is cloud change business. Cloud is not about, his answer was, now I'm selling my software 4,000 euro to you, and what you propose to me is to get 100 euro per month instead of 4,000 euro upfront. Yeah, it's not stupid. So there is a lot more, of course, okay? And this lot more is fundamentally, that we go, there is a shooter, wow, fantastic. That we go from a business where the different business track, the marketing, the technology, are completely decoupled, and where we can imagine new ways of thinking business by the opportunity of having the technology centralized somewhere. Just some example. There are some non-scalable stream. You can sell your product. You can put extra services. These are stuff you do one time. Maybe the product becomes recurring, we will see. And you could, and the dream is, okay, I go cloud, now I will push advertising. Okay. Or you can imagine new things that you don't consider before. This is the network effect. All your dentists, because they are all together using their own software, but on one thing. Suddenly, you know, by the way, you dentist, of course, I don't speak about the maintenance. They are always on the last version, blah, blah, blah. But you can easily turn a new function. Remember to your customer to come for their yearly something, okay? You can turn the function for 1 month. And suddenly, the dentist receives a lot of call because the system goes in the database, send an email to every customer who was not there every patient, who was not there for 10 months and say, hey, by the way, if you do not take an appointment within 2 months, the next 2 months, next time you come, your détartrage will be more expensive because Mutual only pay back if you come every 2 months. And these are my open slots in my agenda, which is integrated, by the way. Could you pick up ABC, one of this following meeting? Bang! Automatically, the agenda is full. And people don't complain about the fact, boom, easy function. You propose the function free for 1 month, ping, this is activate centrally, and then you say, okay, I remove it. You like it? Okay, 10 euro a month. Oh yeah, I like it, 10 euro a month. Bang. So you can do easily try of new things. Because of the network effect, because everyone is there, you turn the function. You can imagine new stuff. Hey, by the way, when you remove a tooth, you take on average 45 minutes. Do you know you have a colleague 2 streets away that takes 22 minutes? Interesting. So, what do you want to do? Do you want me to put you in contact because you do the détartrage a lot better? Of course, there is the statistic of the time. Maybe you can create some networking effect. Put people in connection, help them. When you want to be devitalized, my dentist, she does not devitalize anymore herself. She has a colleague 3 streets away who is specialized in devitalization, and they share their customer. Their both sales increase. That's the kind of thing. So instead of just selling software, renting software, you can start to enter the business of your customer and helping them to change the way they do business, the network effect. Because you have 2,000 dentists on your platform, of course you cannot say you're a good dentist, you're a bad dentist. But you can say, well, the dentist world in Wallonie or in Flandre evolved this way, and these are some kind of statistic. Freemium statistic, you want to learn more about yourself, paid statistic, etc., etc. The network effect simplify a lot of cost and create a huge amount of opportunity. You should see the world this way. So then I have slides on everything. The recurring business can scale infinitely, of course. You can imagine a lot of new services. There is a lot of upsell. You have a captive audience for upsell. You can create new services. You can suddenly say, oh, by the way, it is boring, all this customer calling during when you are operating. Why don't you turn the call to our Martin.be services, which is our shared call center for dentists? Why do you waste your time to make your appointment yourself? We can do it ourselves. And then you start to invent a completely different system where you become the super dentist assistant of your dentist. Of course, it is no more 100 euro a month. You smoothly create value for 500, 600, 1,000. And yeah, and by changing the way you see the business, you can multiply by 5 or 10 the value you create with your customer by creating other things, okay? The beauty, of course, of recurring business is also the predictable aspect. The pipeline of a recurring business, this is beautiful. Valuation of a recurring business, when you sell your company, you sell a company with a lot of contract, you can sell at maybe 1.5 the value of your revenue, omzet, chiffre d'affaires. Trying to find a business where you do that today. Some years ago, it was one time, and now when you can sell for, allez, we do not compute on the chiffre d'affaires revenue anymore. We compute on the cash flow you generate, and we still limit by all the risk. Not on recurring business. If you have recurring contract, back to the good roots, okay, etc., etc. So advertising. Alors, the lesson of advertising, I can talk about that hours, but I still have 6 minutes. Don't spend too much time on that. Many people try. Very, very few are successful. This is the chimère of the web for me. Many people of the software as a services. Many people believe they will be rich by advertising. You want to do advertising, you contact Google or Microsoft, you insert your advertising with AdSense or Microsoft advertising, and that's a safe way. Don't do something which is not your business. Maybe make your website or your application using advertising, become a place to put the advertising of the other, but don't spend your time to do that. Most of the time don't work. Ancillarity, what is this complex word? All the spatial stuff you can do on top. Oh, by the way, I have a radiography stuff, and I would like to have the photo and the video of the operation in the patient dossier. Guys, sure, it's a special one. And a special one must always be possible with super margin, okay? The special one, not to confuse with the services. It's a kind of services, but it's a op-maat, sur mesure, so special stuff. Services, of course, distinguish very well what you offer free, the freemium thing, the subscribe thing, the special thing, the service thing. Don't make it too complex, but the perceived value of the four things are completely different. Don't do project or reusable project as a services. It's not a good idea. The ecosystem impact, I mentioned it already. The more people you have on your platform, the more you can find, of course, ID, but also the more you can bring other things. So the more people is the network effect. But the ecosystem, if you have 2,000 dentists, and there are not that many, if you have 500 dentists in Belgium, you are a significant contact point to maybe 40% of the dentists in Belgium. If you start to represent 40% of a business where the machine costs 50,000 euro, for instance, well, your 100 euro a month start to be a lot more value if you can start to think to what it is. Many people look for ways to access your customer. Of course, you have to respect your customer, but there is probably a kind of win-win to do. The extreme I have seen is someone who said to the customer, I will filter for you relevant information, filtering you pay, and who said to the supplier, I will contact you with the right guy and contacting you pay. Win 2 times. Well, it's exaggerated, but it's possible. Product, well, okay, we also can think the whole way. It still works. And network effect, if you are big enough, you can start to learn from the connection between the people. You can connect the people with each other, etc., etc. So if you think SaaS, the clouds, you can see it as Azure and a technology guy, nice. You also can wonder, how is Azure going to transform my business and change the way I sell a CD for a dentist to I become the business partner of the dentist? There is a huge opportunity to explore. We have seminars specific on that as well. What's the time? Well, still have 2 minutes. Leo Exter will present within 2 sessions some great example of pitch. And when I say Leo will present some of the startup of the bootcamp, and I see some of the guys already, and they will pitch their story. Pitching is a fundamental thing. So telling your story. Are you able to tell your story in 30 seconds? If in 30 seconds I do not want to meet you, you miss something. Well, not to meet me, but if you meet someone, and if in 30 seconds you cannot get a rendezvous because this person say, wow, I never hear about such a good thing, I want to meet you, you're wrong. That's not the thing you need to invent. You need to think once, how am I going to present myself in 30 seconds so I get any rendezvous, okay? And once you have 30 seconds, probably you can come pitching in 5 minutes or pitching in 15 and 30 minutes. And you need to be ready for that. That's the kind of thing we teach in the bootcamp as well. Alors, and now, you would say, because I still have, 7 seconds, this kind of insight, this kind of learning, this is in a shell, I would say, the experience we have had with about 100 startups this last 2.5 years. If you're interested, if you're a programmer and you dream to create your own company, we are pleased to share this kind of thing with you in a more structured way. It was just a flavor of. Alors, what do? We participate regularly to, there is a D too much, to, let's say, am I an entrepreneur kind of event. I really encourage you to go to a startup weekend. There are 1 or 2 organized, there were 2 last year, there will be other one in Belgium. You go on startup weekend website, there are startup weekend abroad, go to Lyon, go everywhere. There are maybe 10 every weekend in Europe somewhere. It's not a problem to go, Roald, you've been to Berlin, for instance. It's not a problem to go in another country where you're less known, maybe, or not yet famous, and present your project in such a kind of place. It's good to go. The idea there is to bring people to the boot camp. The boot camp is a 3-day session. We will organize, let's say, between Wallonie, Brussels, and soon Flanders, let's say, every 3 months, every 2 months, there will be such a boot camp. The next session will be probably end of March, beginning of April. Just follow us on email, info@micbelgique.be. You subscribe to our newsletter, you get informed. These 3 days boot camp, this is 3 days with between 10 and 15 startups work together, like the one you saw on the video, and you try in 3 days to wonder, what is my idea? What is my business model? Is it realistic, coherent, consistent? What am I going to do? Where is the money? And am I able to tell my story in 30 seconds and 5 minutes? These are the 2 objectives we reach. When you are an alumni of the Boostcamp, you can join many workshops. We have workshops and we have detailed workshop on finance. We include them in the bootcamp, the one you give as well. There are many people doing a very interesting workshop. Leo, there, organized with We Startup. Xavier, Martin, they organize also. We'll try to connect you to the existing stuff. It's a little bit a kind of shopping. Go and shop the things that are needed for you. As an alumni, we help you to find what is your important next step. Then, of course, you do your job. We propose in the MIC a workshop in finance, in business model, in marketing, in sales, in referencing, in pitching, as well as some ADS, architecture design session, where you can meet technology experts to help you to architecture your model. And then we encourage everyone to go for a next generation, which is, your project is ready, you look for money. Leo Exter organized in Brussels, probably 2 times a year, a beta invest event. Actually, you come with your project in front of real investors. But then, of course, you need to be ready. In Wallonie, we have a project called Dragon, which is also a way to accelerate, let's say, with some kind of coaching, your project. Okay? Now I'm 4 minutes too late. I will have to leave the floor. Okay, if you have any question, I'm here the next 15 minutes. Next session will be Roald Siberat within 15 minutes, who has normally always top topics on business model story.